In the heart of Ho Chi Minh City, towers of glass rise from streets lined with scooters and streetlights. Every window tells a story of ambition. But one tower and one name came to define both the dream and the downfall of Vietnam's new elite. Trương Mỹ Lan. To some, she was a symbol of modern Vietnam. Elegant, private, impossibly rich. To others, she was a mystery wrapped in influence and silence. What no one could see was that behind her empire's polished facade lay an engineered illusion, one so massive it nearly fractured an entire nation's financial core. This isn't just a crime story. It's the anatomy of deception and how power, unchecked, turns even brilliance into ruin. Before she became a billionaire, before the skyscrapers and the headlines, there was a girl at a market stall. Trương Mỹ Lan was born in 1956 in Old Saigon into a modest Chinese-Vietnamese Teochew family. Her mother sold cosmetics in Ben Thanh Market, a noisy labyrinth of scent, color, and trade. That market was Lan's first classroom. She learned how money moved not from textbooks, but from the rhythm of buyers and sellers. Every morning she helped her mother unpack boxes, arrange powders, greet customers. She learned when to trust, when to smile, and when to walk away from a bad deal. Those lessons would stay with her for life. When Vietnam opened its economy in the late 1980s, a new kind of opportunity emerged. Many saw uncertainty, Lan saw freedom. Using small profits saved from years of trade, she began buying plots of land quietly, when others were still hesitant. The 1990s were Vietnam's rebirth. The markets opened. Money flowed. Dreams had no ceiling. Amid the chaos and opportunity, a woman named Trương Mỹ Lan began buying land. Quietly, relentlessly, her company, Vạn Thịnh Phát, rose like a shadow empire, buying hotels, office blocks, and city landmarks. Her name appeared rarely in public, but her properties were everywhere. She became a ghost billionaire. No interviews, no speeches, no social media, just influence, whispered in boardrooms and banks. And yet, her power wasn't only built on property. It was built on access to capital, to regulators, to an entire financial system waiting to be rewritten. In 2011, 3 banks merged into one, the Saigon Joint Stock Commercial Bank, or SCB. It was supposed to be a stabilizing move, a symbol of financial strength. But behind closed doors, Lan had already found her entry point. Through nominees, relatives, and shell companies, she quietly took control of more than 90% of the bank's shares.
According to the evidence, she appointed her own people as managers, who would then go on to approve billions of dollars in loans to all of those shell companies that she had set up. Those loans added up to about 93% of all of the bank's lending.
Loans were approved at her command. Departments followed her verbal orders like scripture. To regulators, SCB looked alive, a thriving bank fueling Vietnam's urban boom. But underneath, it was hollow, like a skyscraper built from silk and smoke. From 2012 to 2022, the system became self-feeding. Over 2,500 loans issued to companies that didn't exist. Thousands of signatures forged. Numbers shifted to create the illusion of solvency. At its peak, more than $12 billion disappeared, absorbed by false borrowers and ghost projects. Investigators later found that even internal auditors were intimidated or paid off to stay silent.
She had so much money, she was paying off all of the state regulators who should have been shouting out warnings about the way in which she was controlling the bank.
Ordinary Vietnamese citizens, small investors, retirees, poured their savings into SCB's bonds. They believed in the dream Lan sold: luxury towers, safe investments, national pride. They didn't know that the dream was built on paper walls. October 2022. The whispers became shouts. Reports leaked of irregular transfers and vanished funds. Fear hit the streets. SCB's branches overflowed with depositors demanding their money back. Within days, Vietnam's central bank stepped in, freezing operations, placing SCB under special control. The illusion had cracked. And with it, the myth of invincibility surrounding Trương Mỹ Lan. Her arrest came swiftly. Prosecutors called her scheme a black hole in the economy, a vortex that swallowed trust, transparency, and billions in value. Even for a country familiar with corruption trials, this one felt different. The numbers were biblical, the betrayal personal. March 2024, the trial opened in Ho Chi Minh City. It took a courtroom the size of a concert hall to hold nearly 2,700 witnesses and defendants. Evidence filled entire truckloads. Hard drives, contracts, recordings each revealing how money moved like water through channels no one dared to trace. Prosecutors accused Lan of bribing officials, rewriting ledgers, and manipulating SCB's structure to drain it from within. Her defense? That she was managing loans to support her own business, not to steal. But the judges weren't convinced. April 2024, verdict delivered. Death sentence. The courtroom went silent. Even in a country where capital punishment still exists, a death sentence for financial crimes was almost unheard of. It was more than justice. It was a message. When the verdict hit the headlines, the shock spread far beyond Vietnam. Foreign investors questioned the stability of a system where so much could happen in secret. At home, thousands of bondholders were left in despair, their savings erased.
The scale of the bonds are actually quite staggering. It's over $1.2 billion in this very intricate scheme. Thus, at that level of bonds issued by multiple companies, it would be very difficult to actually recover or to find fault in all the bond issuance.
Some called it karma, others called it a tragedy, but everyone agreed the illusion had cost too much.
Ho Thi Hung is one of more than 35,000 people affected. She had trusted the bank with $500,000. It was her life savings and her children's money too. An agent at the bank encouraged her to purchase bonds. Hung had no idea the bank was selling bonds issued by different shell companies, all linked to Trương Mỹ Lan's conglomerate.
SCB's failure exposed a weakness in Vietnam's rapid growth story, a reminder that unchecked development without governance is a ticking bomb. And just like that, one of Asia's most powerful women became a cautionary tale. It's easy to see this as the fall of a villain, but beneath it all lies a deeper truth, one about human ambition and the systems we build. Every economy built on trust can fall when that trust becomes negotiable. Every brand, every bank, every empire becomes vulnerable when truth is treated as a line item. Trương Mỹ Lan's empire didn't collapse because she ran out of money. Collapsed because she ran out of credibility. And in finance, credibility is the currency that keeps the world alive. In a world where deception can be engineered as easily as code, trust must be protected with intelligence, not intuition. That's where Tileris steps in. Using advanced AI agents and cybersecurity intelligence systems, Tileris helps organizations detect financial anomalies, expose fraudulent networks, and predict breaches before they happen. Because the next Trương Mỹ Lan might not build towers. They might build digital ones, and while old empires collapsed in silence, the new ones collapse in data. At Tileris, we believe that technology isn't just about innovation. It's about integrity, about keeping businesses, brands, and people safe in a world where truth itself can be forged. This was the Silk Tower, inside Vietnam's $12 billion deception. If the story moved you, share it not for the scandal, but for the lesson. Subscribe to Tileris Stories for more true narratives at the intersection of power, technology, and human failure. Because behind every digital breach or billion-dollar fraud, there's always a story worth uncovering.